fitness challenges, self-improvement, 1% better. Find out how you can get better every single day on the Richard Neese Podcast.
We believe in all the F words: faith, family, football, and fitness. Check us out on the Richard Neese Podcast every Saturday morning on WKUL.
Please subscribe. Please help us out by growing the channel. We want to help good people get to a better place. Hey everybody, Richard Neese here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Richard Neese Podcast. I'm pretty pumped today. Got Dominic Gill with me as usual.
As usual.
Thanks for coming, Dominic. Thanks for setting up everything. Thanks for getting it all going. I appreciate what you're
setting
doing.
it up, and then it just moved.
Oh, no.
It's all good. It's all good. There we are.
So I appreciate all the things you do to help us reach more people, which in turn helps the good people get to a better place. Dom, what have you had going on this week?
Oh, my gosh. It's one of those everything and nothing feeling kind of weeks. But when you look back and see the progress, as it felt like it was a drag, you start realizing, hey, actually did pretty good. Actually did pretty good. So had to go and restructure a lot of content for a lot of different clients, and then had a buddy of mine who I've been noticing. He's been running this thing, running a special segment for his daughter. Daughter's really big into basketball. She's the same age as my daughter. They're only like a few days apart from each other. But my buddy James, his daughter's been doing like these interviews on girls basketballs, and so started to meet with a few people like last week.
It's grown a lot bigger than that. No, G-Bolt, right?
James. James Marks, yeah.
So James had talked to him about that. I actually need to get back with him sometime soon about potentially doing an interview. But it's pretty cool to see. She was at the county tournament.
Yeah.
I guess she was calling some actual action there. She also, did she interview Shane Barnett? No, she interviewed Champ Crocker.
I think she did. Yeah, no, she interviewed Shane Barnett as well.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, Guinevere's been absolutely. So I called him this week. I was like, she's getting a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
Don't change anything you're doing. Let's just change the avenues in how you're doing it to set it up a little better if you want to do it. So had a real good talk about that and stuff. So, but first and foremost, I told him, I was like, look, I'm not trying to make him feel pressured into doing something for his daughter, because, it's when you're getting someone who's under the age of 18 and she's well below that age.
Oh, yeah.
There is some potential security issues that you have to take in consideration. So you don't jump into something like that lightly. You don't want to have something come up later to where people used to joke about us like, oh, y'all trying to be like the Duggars, with all the kids. It's like, well, I'd rather not, expose my children to that kind of, to open for, first of all, criticism of me, because I'm raising these kids. But at the same time, if your kids are honestly wanting to do that, so we're going to have that conversation.
That's pretty cool.
If that's something that she wants to do, that they want to do together, then I'm going to go and help them kind of build out some sort of structure and proper channels in order to where they can run this so that she can actually grow. But it's pretty cool to see that growth from someone who's just following what she wants to do.
Absolutely.
So,
well, it's pretty exciting to see that. And knowing what you want early on is great, and she may do that for a year and decide that's not what I want to do at the end of the day. But it seems like she's pretty dead set on interviewing and learning and things like that. Mm-hmm. And James and I used to play basketball a long time ago. He's a pretty good ball player too, so it's cool to see all that, the passion and then something like that come together. Who knows? They may monetize it and make some money off of it, and that may be what she does for her future career. But it's really great to see that kind of stuff going on.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing with that is like, well, you got to make sure, there is an opportunity there, but you got to also understand the dangers with it, because
Absolutely.
whenever someone's no longer 11, 12 years old, as they start aging up, that content starts losing its charms, it's losing its allure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, I was like, you have an opportunity, but you got to weigh the risks.
Well, and just like life in general, kids aren't exempt from this. There's going to be criticism, not only as a parent, but also as a young lady. There's going to be people saying that she doesn't need to be doing that because she needs to be at school. She needs to be doing this. She needs to be doing that. But at the end of the day, I think it's pretty cool to see somebody stepping out. You good?
No, we're good. We're good.
But first off, Dominic, folks have been with us this long. Hopefully they'll do this. Tell them how to contribute to us. Tell them how to spread the word. Tell them how to get more content from us.
So first of all, those of you on the radio world, please look us up on YouTube, the Richard Neese Podcast. And if you like what we're doing, you like our content, we're just getting started. We plan to level up as we go along.
We're just getting started right now for this format. We've been doing this for quite a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Channel's new, and so please, liking the video, subscribing it helps us out. Like, I know it sounds common, especially those of you who are on YouTube a lot, but it really does help out with the algorithm. It really helps us grow. It's something that's free for you, and it helps us tremendously. And if you gain any value from our content at all, a small repayment, because we're absolutely free.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Dominic said, we're on WKUL on Saturday mornings at 9:30. We hope you guys listen in on there. Please support the folks that support us. I appreciate the Mosleys and all they do for our community here in Coleman. That they've helped me out tremendously. We've had multiple radio shows with them, and they've helped us in other ways. And they are a small business. They're not bought up by big corporate media or anything like that. So it's cool to see the local station here standing strong and doing well. I'm proud to see the local advertising. They've always been really good to us. And then obviously YouTube, we want to try and grow that channel out. One of the reasons that I'm doing this, I'm going to say it's a contributing factor, is 75 hard. Dominic, do you know what 75 hard is?
Very little I understand a lot.
No. Okay.
No. I'm aware of it. That's why to put it.
So Andy Frisella is an entrepreneur. He's a guy that runs, its First Form is the company he runs, but he also has a couple books out. He's got a program. It's a 75 hard program. It's not a challenge. For a long time when he started, people would call it a challenge. He'd get pissed off and he'd say all kind of crazy things about, he has a colorful language about how this isn't a challenge because it's 75 hard program. It's part of a bigger program, which is called the Live Hard program. And it's a self-improvement program. It's how do I get better? How do I maximize my life? And I think you know as well as anybody, Dominic, it's that's one of the main focuses I have is how do I get 1% better every day? Mm-hmm. And we all fall short. We all slide back down to where we were before on certain things. And then I got to that place for a little while. And so I started the 75 Hard program, which is 75 days. And I'm going to read off a list of these things that you have to do. I should know every single one of them, but I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So with 75 Hard, it affects the mental and the physical side, and it helps you in a lot of different ways. So you have to do 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be out in the elements. So this prevents you from saying, oh, it's too cold outside or it's too hot, I'm just going to do something in the gym. The goal is to create mental toughness. And you know, Dominic, when you're out there in 20-degree weather, you're getting mentally tough. It doesn't matter how warm you are wrapped up. It makes you say, I can do this. I can handle this. And what's amazing about this is I remember last year, and I would run with Francis, your brother. I'd run with Craig and other people. And I'm like, oh, man, 45, 50 degrees outside. I'm not getting out in that.
And then we're going to single digits.
Last week, I was out there in 8-degree temperatures. And I was bundled up and I was rucking. But it still changes the perspective. And after about 10 minutes, it felt like it was 30 degrees. It felt like 50 degrees, you know?
Yeah. And then after that, you're kind of like, man, I miss those 40-degree weather.
Absolutely. So I actually had a post on social media where I said, I never thought I'd be thankful for 35-degree weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was absolutely thankful because it was bone chilling for Alabama for about a week there, 9, 10, 15 degrees, pretty rough with snow and sleet. So you do the 2 workouts. You also have to take a progress pic. So if you take a progress pic every day, it keeps you aware of your body changes and it shows you the progress long term, but also short term, it makes you think about it mentally of, I'm taking a picture every day, so I've got to hold myself accountable every day. Now, you have to read 10 pages, and it has to be a self-help, nonfiction, something that's going to help you grow as a person. And then you have to drink 1 gallon of water, follow a diet, and then no cheat meals or alcohol. So your diet can include, I indulge on Saturday all day, and then the rest of the time I'm doing it. So for one day, when you get to about 30 or 40 days, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of doing this. And then there's some other rules in there, like you can't have back-to-back workouts, so it makes you plan out your days. But the whole goal of this is to make you mentally tough and make you reprioritize the things that you do. You got to be able to plan your day out. And this has been huge for me. I actually started, I've tried a few times, and I'm actually on day 74 right now as we're filming this. 74 of 75. By the time you listen, I will have completed 75 hard on Saturday, and I will move on to the next phase of the Live Hard.
Are you going to have a cheat meal?
Do what?
Are you going to have a cheat meal?
So I will have a donut Saturday morning. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Okay.
Daylight Donuts. I haven't had one in I think it's like 115 days or something like that.
All right.
And that's our family tradition on Saturdays. So every Saturday, my kids have been eating my donut. So I'm going to eat my donut this week. So I don't think I'll change a whole lot diet-wise.
Right.
I'll have some bourbon. I have some other stuff. But I really don't mind the diet that I have. It was just the hard part of kicking that first carb, bread, sugar, sweets, cravings. I haven't had sweet tea in Alabama in 120 days. That's like a sin or something. I believe I probably need to go to confession for that if I haven't had sweet tea in that time frame.
I mean, it's been 5 years for me.
Yeah, you're
does.
holier than me. How about that?
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, right.
So that's an Alabama sin. But then I also got the Cajun sin, which is I don't like seafood. So there you go.
Goodness, that is bad, especially for Cajun guys.
Yeah. Almost got excommunicated from the Catholic Church for that one.
I believe that. But the 75 Hard program has been designed in order to make you mentally tough, to make you stronger. The Live Hard program goes into multiple phases of that. I'm excited about getting into it and letting folks know about it. But what I've seen is 75 Hard pushed me to do the show again. It pushed me to say, feel good about yourself. You're doing good things, so put it out there so other people can connect with you. And the crazy part is between fitness, between the work we've done in the community, as of late, which we've been doing it the whole time, but I've been advertising it more about what we're doing. Advertise is not the right word, I guess. What would you think? Just letting folks know about the impact we're making, showing them so they can be a part of that. I like to get community involvement. Like we just finished up an apartment complex, and it was a rough eyesore for the past probably 15, 20 years in Vinemont. And we bought it. It took 6 months to fix it up and get it leased out again. And now it's I think it's a great
On a major road too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's right through the center of this small town. So it was a major detractor from why you want to be in Vinemont. And so it was pretty cool to see that transition. My team worked hard on it. But none of that happens unless the engine is going. And what I keep coming back to is I can run myself down. I can do all these things. I can cope by whether it's drinking alcohol, whether it's whatever it is, playing video games. I've seen all those things. But I've really seen the habit stacking increase over that time frame. Dominic, are you a habit stacker? I mean, are you cold feet, jump in with both feet? I mean, what do you do for your habits?
For my habits, it's
the good habits, let's say that.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not talking about vices. We're talking about
That's right.
We're talking about. I mean, honestly, I would say it's definitely more of a cold feet, but I guess before cold plunge.
Yeah.
But usually prior to that, there's a lot of mental fortification that has to happen prior to that happening. So if I plunge in without being mentally fortified, that stubborn will to get it done, then I know it's not going to work. So it's kind of like having it built up in your head. So I will start taking small steps leading up to the cutoff in order to try to mentally kind of stress myself out to where I can actually take that plunge at that point. Because at that point, if you're not mentally prepared and you're just working off of pure motivation, there's nothing wrong with motivation, but motivation is like a shower. It has to be put on daily.
Absolutely.
And some days, after trying to motivate yourself so much, if you don't have the mental tenacity to do it because it's what you got to do, that takes the place of motivation, because some days you're just not going to be motivated.
That's right. Motivation is tough. And I think what you said is perfect. And I'll rephrase what you said on that side. You have to have a why. Why am I doing this? Because if I'm just doing it because I want to be mentally tough, usually that's not going to work. It has to be, I need to change my lifestyle. And one thing and I posted this on social media the other day, is the impact it's having on my kids. My kids are seeing me do certain things. And so when dad does it, well, they want to be a little healthier. Well, they want to eat a little healthier.
Right.
They want to eat paleo, stuff like that. Why am I doing this? Well, they don't know why yet, but they know that dad's doing it and dad's going to lead them in the right way. And so to me, that's not just a family impact. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, how'd you lose the weight? And they really, 90% really don't want to do it.
Right.
It's the hard part. But
Right.
if they're asking, that means they're paying attention. And it means that I could be having an impact on 1 out of 100
Right.
or 10 out of 100. And that's what I keep coming back to is we're here to help good people get to a better place. We're here to help people on this show. And so I want to continue to push that out. If you don't know about the 75 Hard program, look it up. Look it up. If you know me, you've probably seen my posts and stuff, so you probably had the chance to do that. 75 Hard, the thing I like about this is you don't have to be an elite athlete to do it. You don't have to be 200 pounds overweight to do it. It is literally about getting incrementally better and sticking with something for 3 months, 75 days, a little bit less than 3 months, but most people will fail in the first couple of weeks and they'll try again. That's kind of
Oh yeah, it's like the second Friday in January. It's basically.
That's right.
I was talking to someone else about this the other day. Is if you get past the second Friday in January, well, you're in the 5% of people who set goals.
Absolutely.
Because 95% of people drop all their goals by that second Friday. And they're like, "What's with the second Friday?" I was like, "Well, it depends on when your payday is."
That's right. That's right. Well, I just keep looking at it like this. If you go 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see improvement, drastic improvement. But the key that I like about this is you don't have to do a strict carnivore diet. You don't have to do a Weight Watchers diet. You get to pick your diet. So do better than you did before for 75 days. So one of the things that I start off with, I actually had to restart the program after 40 days. I had to restart because I didn't take a progress picture. It was actually the night of the Tyson fight, and I forgot to take the picture. I stayed up watching it. I was streaming. I was exhausted. It kept buffering. It was pretty ridiculous. And then I forgot to take a picture. So I wake up the next morning.
That game was just a complete, that day was just a complete loss for you after that fight, too.
Absolutely. So I forgot to take a picture. I'm like, you know what? I don't, could I get away with this? Nobody would ever know, because I had it mapped out to where I was going to finish right before Christmas. I could have all my Christmas fixings. I could celebrate, do that. And then I said, people that are watching me, my kids that are watching me, if they ever found out that I didn't do it right, that everything that I've done has been ruined. And I'll always know that I didn't complete the 75 hard program.
Yeah. I mean, the end of it all is that you're just going to go and really make yourself feel like a fraud.
That's right.
Especially every time you try to get any kind of credit for your accomplishment, there's a little bit inside of you that feels like, well, there's an asterisk. You always hear about asterisk championships.
That's right.
It's like there's an asterisk by it or whatever.
Right. That's a great point.
So.
And the thing is, like, Catherine was like, Richard, you've done this. You didn't take a picture. It's not a big deal. It's not a major part of the program. The program is the program. It doesn't matter if I missed one, if I drank a little bit of alcohol in accident. It doesn't matter. This is the program. If I want to say that I completed it, then I've got to do it this way.
Right.
And that was day 42.
Right.
So I was over halfway through with this whole thing. And I'll go ahead and tell you, since I'd already failed, I had a couple bourbons that night. I enjoyed some pasta. I mean, it was a good night. And I was like, okay, now you screwed it up. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Well, before I get back into the grind again, let me go and. I mean, I would 100% do the exact same thing.
The cool part about the weight loss part, as far as the diet goes, was I realized that when I set myself on a diet, as opposed to saying I can't have these things, but these are the things I can have, and I need to hit my macros and stuff like that, it really put me in a position where I wasn't craving sugar and sweets anymore. Right. Now, would I like to have some? Sure, but I know that once I get addicted to it again, because that's what it is. It's a sugar addiction.
100%.
Once you get back on that, it's going to be hard to pull back off. And I really think that going carnivore, which we talked about a little bit before, I think that helped me transition away from a lot of sugars and fats, or not fats, a lot of sugars and bread and pasta. And now I don't even have a craving for them anymore, which is great. Anyways, all that being said, this 75 hard program was incremental success, incrementally getting tougher, which comes from the habit stacking. And Dominic, do you know what habit stacking is? I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
So with habit stacking, that's where you start with one habit and do that for a certain amount of time, and then add the next habit, and then add the next habit, and then you're doing all those things. What happens is your entire life changes based on that principle. The same thing happens the other way. If you decide that you're going to drink, and you drink every day, and then you're going to start saying, oh, well, this doesn't satisfy me anymore. Now I'm going to do something else. Well, now I'm going to do something else. And then eventually you spiral out of control.
Yeah, one compromise leads to more compromises. Exactly right. You start developing a tolerance for compromising.
Sure.
After that, yeah, absolutely.
And the crazy part was those gaps exist. That space has to be filled. Mm-hmm. You can't, most people say, well, I'm going to stop drinking. Okay, well, my response 6 months ago was, that's great. Now it is, what are you going to replace that with? Because you're going to have something, whether that's a step down. Maybe it's, I'm going to stop drinking every night, but I'm going to play video games every night to fill that void of the release, right? And then it's like, well, I don't like the way that I feel after I play video games because I can't control it. I say I'm going to play an hour and I play 6. Well, I'm going to take a step down. Instead of playing 6 hours, I'm going to play for an hour. and I'm going to replace it with reading for this time frame because reading makes me tired. I want to go to sleep. Okay, well, maybe that's an acceptable replacement. What I see, and I was talking to somebody today about this, they were talking about, I went dry all through January. Great, awesome. And he says, I still have cravings. I don't really know what I need to do. And I said, you need to walk. When instead of sitting on the couch, when you would be drinking that beer, go out and walk or do some push-ups or do something that's going to relieve the stress, the anxiety, the frustration from the day. And if you do that, just one small thing, stretch. It doesn't have to be something that's really physically challenging. Replace it. When you replace that gap, then you can start getting better and start habit stacking on that. You don't have to go run a marathon to get rid of your drinking problem, but you can walk with your wife and improve your relationship, or walk away from your wife so it improves your relationship, whatever that looks like. So, I mean, what do you think about that habit stacking idea and the replacement of the bad habits?
I mean, it's definitely a good practice to get into for sure. I mean, I'm not a practitioner of replacing bad habits. Maybe I do, and I just don't realize I do, because normally whenever I am starting to feel, for instance, whenever I'm doing my dieting, or I'm currently on keto right now, and I'm starting to feel that pain at night, you get that hunger pangs. And so I'm more distracted from it while I am, and again, I am a avid gamer. I play nearly daily. So I find myself being more gravitating myself towards that habit, which is not necessarily what I would say is a net positive, but it is distracting me from the hunger pangs itself, so that I'm able to kind of bear with it as I'm going through. And some days are worse than others because particularly stressful day, and I'm a person who is or previously I'm in the process of trying to break my relationship with sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar's been my biggest weakness. And not just sweets, breads. It's like sure. I can Jesus said man can't live on bread alone. I mean, I feel like I can,
right?
Because I just love bread that much.
I'm going to give unsolicited advice on this. So I felt a similar issue, and I'll work on two things that you said. You said it's not necessarily a net positive. I think that's not necessarily a positive, but I do think it's a net positive. Like, it's not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So a net positive is that you're stepping away from that. Even if it's 1% better, it's better, right?
Right.
So I think this is the right way of looking at things, or it's a good way of looking at things, not necessarily the right way. The other thing is, if you want to get rid of that hunger pain, you can drink lots of water, and that'll fill that gut. Or you can eat a different type of food, because when you eat bread, when you eat pasta, you're hungry in 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. But if you eat a meat, if you eat protein, at that point, you're not going to be hungry through the night. And I found that on a regular basis. Yeah. Since I've swapped back to eating more carbs and less, I still eat a lot of protein, but more carbs, I am hungry at night. Mm-hmm. And it's not because my workload's increased. I mean, I'm lifting weights, so there's a heavy, but I'm doing that in the morning. So what's happening is I'm eating more carb-based stuff to get my calories up and things like that. But I'm still hungry in the evening. So I'm looking for that snack. Another thing I eat a good bit is we eat roasted salted almonds. And so that fills the void, and it makes it where I'm not as hungry. It's got more protein. It's got more fat too, but it's not as much sugar. So that may be something you can do. I'm by no means a nutritionist. I don't take this as the gospel. All I'm doing is speaking from my experience. I found that nuts really help. Pecans, almonds, things like that. They help fill that void, and it helps you keep you satiated longer. But when I was actually had no cravings was when I was eating steak, pork chops, I was eating chicken, stuff like that later in the evenings. Mm-hmm. And you think, oh gosh, this isn't good to eat late. No, it's not good to eat sugar late. Eating that protein is not going to be bad for you, and it's going to keep you from being hungry at midnight or 10 o'clock or whenever you finish up. The other thing that I want to ask you is, do you think that that's hunger, or do you think that is some sort of fixation that you need to be eating?
So whenever I did different forms of keto in the past, the one that worked for me is actually having one meal replacement at night, which is always my most indulgent meal, is to have that one meal replacement with a no carb shake. And so at night, after you've gone through the day, you went through breakfast. Breakfast is normally sausage, eggs, bacon, eggs, whatever. Some sort of protein along with eggs, which eggs is protein too, I guess. And then lunch is usually baked chicken, a steak, pork chop, something, just salt and pepper, nothing. You don't go in there and just overdo it on that. And that's it. So I'm pretty much going carb free throughout the day. Well, don't want to say I cheat, but in the morning when I drink my coffee, I have a little bit of creamer in that.
Sure.
And I've been scaling back that creamer, but I have to have my coffee and I can't drink it black. I'm not that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So at night I just do the shake. And so at night, because that's whenever I find that I get the most progress out of from my previous diet. When I lost 60 pounds, I did the shake at night, and it was every night, consistently every night. So whenever that shake kind of runs through your system, you feel it a little bit more. And so that's whenever you really start feeling those hunger pangs. But it's also the most effective way for me to lose weight. And plus, during the day, when I'm actually focusing on tasks, if I replaced it in the morning, then work's not going to go and mentally take me away. I can deal with it a lot better in the evenings while I have it's just easier for me to deal with it in the evenings versus during work hours while I'm trying to accomplish something and I need that feeling in my stomach to actually get something done. If that makes sense at all. It's my system I worked out for me.
I want to step into that and say, here's what I've seen, and I hear this on a regular basis. The system that works the best is the one you'll do.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And what I would encourage you to do, Dominic, and I've actually gotten Catherine to do this, and I've gotten other people to do it, is look up the First Form app. And I would encourage you, First Form is the fitness company by Andy Frisella. There's the tie-in, right? I've actually got a First Form energy drink. They don't give us sponsorship, but I enjoy their stuff. We have some at the butcher shop. You want to come by and get
should apply for ambassadorship after today.
So I might. So Andy has changed my life in a lot of different ways. He gives me some motivation. He's more in line with what I want to see. But back to what I was saying, the First Form app has calorie trackers, macro trackers, and it's really easy to use. 6 months ago, I told you I don't have time to track apps or to track calories and macros. But this thing is so easy to use, and it's a scorecard for you every single day. Now, you get to decide how much value that scorecard has, but it's still a scorecard. So on that habit stacking, I would encourage anybody to get this app and just track your macros. It doesn't matter if it's 5,000 calories a day or 1,000 calories a day. Just track it and just say, I don't care what it says. What I care about is doing it. At the end of the day, I'm going to go back and remember what I did, or after every meal. What you're going to see is you're going to be healthier just by doing that, because you're going to see what's going into your body. And the cool part is it's got the scanning feature where you can scan a barcode. You can do whatever. You can type in Big Mac. You can type in something from Dairy Queen, and it usually has about what the calorie count is. Doesn't have to be perfect.
No,
but if you start tracking, you'll start seeing progress on it overall, and you'll feel healthier about yourself. And that's a big step, is getting over that barrier of that's not who I am. You don't have to be a fitness guru to track your macros. And that's what I would encourage. And you don't have to be a genius either. Like 5-6 years ago, it was really difficult to track that stuff. Now I can literally scan whatever. And they pre-program meals. Like, I like the Fiesta Lime Chicken at Applebee's. And I just punch it in. Boom. All the carbs are there. All the macros are there. And it just fills up. And it shows me what fats, carbs, all that other stuff should be. So all this to be said, what I want to do, Dominic, is I want to challenge you that next time I have to do the 75 hard, which is part of the LIVE program, I would like for you to participate with me. You don't have to accept that here. It's time consuming and it's a commitment, but I would love for you to be a part of that. And you don't have to be a world-class runner. You don't have to be a world-class weightlifter. It can literally be, I walk in the mornings outside and I stretch in the evenings as my 45 minutes. You just have to commit to those things. So I'm going to get you some information on that.
No, 100%. I'm going to give you a soft commitment on that, right?
So the good part is
or medium hard commitment, if that's a word, if that's the thing, medium hard commitment.
So the Live Hard program has multiple features in it, and you have to actually do the 75 hard portion more than once. And 75 hard starts it, 75 hard ends it. I think there's one in the middle somewhere in the 1 year program that you have to do it. But I would just like you to be a part of that if you would. Regardless, I want to encourage anybody, if you have questions about 75 hard, I don't get paid for this, but I really believe it can help you in your life, and you can tailor it to a certain extent to your schedule, to what you're doing. You can't make it, it doesn't fit everybody's schedule, but I think you can make it work if you really make a commitment to that. So Dominic, what else do we have to hit right before we finish up with the radio show portion?
I think we covered it pretty good. You know, I mean, those who made it to the end heard my medium hard commitment.
So that goes along with the joke that we had earlier. We hope you guys have a great weekend. We hope you guys check us out on YouTube. If you're listening to us on the radio, thank you guys so much. We're here to help good people get to a better place. I'm a big advocate of the 75 Hard and Andy Frisella. Look him up, reach out, comment, DM, ask us about the programs, about the stuff. If you want to be on the show, let us know. Dominic, is that all you got?
Yes, sir. Take care. God bless.